Hey Ryan, you alright?
Oh yeah, you okay?
Yeah, I'm
Can you
good.
hear me? Okay?
Say again, sorry?
Can you hear me all right? Yeah.
Yeah, can hear you perfectly fine, mate.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
All good, all good. So how are you? You alright?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. You all right?
Yeah, good.
Oh, belting, belting.
Thanks for giving up your time, mate. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously know, pretty obvious what I do. I just like to, as I sort of said previously, I just think it grounds things a little bit more when I've got the chance to speak to people that are sort of more on the ground, if you like, than I am.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
came
Does.
across you, and you seems like probably nobody knows this one better than you. So yeah, appreciate you
It's
joining me.
it's funny. It's funny. Yeah, it's quite a few people said that. Like, I'm quite knowledged up about this case. I mean, I work. We're recording now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I am quite knowledgeable about this case, and the weird thing about it, well, I weren't even born when it happened. It just like I am from Lee. I've lived in Lee. I'm 34 now, so I've lived in Lee all my life. And Lisa's case was it happened in '84, in December '84. I was born September '90, and I was only aware of this murder happening when I was about 9 or 10. So I knew about it from the late '90s, hearing people talk about it and stuff.
Yeah.
And what it was, I just happened to do a school project in 2004 when I was 14, and I did it for me. We used to do PSE or citizenship. I can't remember what it were called when I was at Lawton High, the school I went to, and we had to cover about a local crime or a notorious crime, and I picked Lisa Hession's case for cover. And what it were, I went and looked at all the old archive newspapers and stuff and printed them out. So I knew about the case, and obviously, originally I am from Rugby Road originally. I mean, I've not lived there since 1993, but I have my late sister lived there, moved back there in 2001, and she lived there up until her passing last year. So I did used to go to that estate quite a lot because I used to stay over at my sister's when I was at school and stuff. And
Yeah.
obviously I used to go and visit my sister anyway, so I did have links like to that estate, like growing up and stuff. And yeah, I knew like it's always been a case like if you're from Lee and I am from Lee, like, and all my family are, it's like a big thing in Lee that we want to see closure about. With closure of, sorry. It's because it happened like Lisa was 14, she was a kid walking home from her mate's house on a Saturday, and it's like a black cloud over this town. We just won't know who it is. And justice basically for like some closure, because like a mum lived right, literally Lisa was right corner from where she lived, 200 yards away from her house at Bonnywell Road. She was only literally like probably a minute's walk away, if that, from where she lived. And her mum lived on that estate like 30 odd years after it happened. Her mum died tragically, like never getting justice. Do you know what I mean? Her mum even kept her bedroom same from Geisha murder. She never changed her room, which is such a tragedy. Like poor woman had like no other children, and she went to grave not getting justice for her own daughters. You know what I mean? It's like it just. I just think it's very injustice, like what's gone on, and I personally don't. I personally think someone in this town knows some. I really do. I really do. I think they've been shielded, and I really do think that a person or more than one person knows who that killer is, and how they've gone about not saying anything and letting that poor Christine Essien go into the grave without getting justice, and like other people as well, like who were Lisa's friends or knew Lisa, or just general people who remember the case, who've been affected by it. Like, people just want to know, but I do think one day we will know, especially with DNA. I really do.
Yeah. No, I think you've touched on a few things there already. So if you want, I'll just jump straight in, just ask you the
Yeah.
first question, and then
I'll carry on if you want. If you, yeah, ask me the first question.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you, I know you sort of mentioned a second ago, but you weren't born at the time Lisa was killed, so
No, no.
just sort of run me through how did you originally become involved in helping to publicise it, and what were your kind of
Well,
motivations for getting involved?
well, like I said, earlier on, I knew about the case growing up. I mean, I remember when I heard about this murder, what happened, and I remember my mum and a friend were on about it when I was a kid, and they were saying like how bad it were when it happened, and they've never caught him. And I was literally about 9 or 10 at times, so it's like 1999, 2000 when I first heard about it. And I generally had no idea. I remember we lived at Rugby Road, and I was familiar it was our old house, but I generally didn't know there was a child what had been murdered on that estate. And then as years have gone on, like obviously, like people used to talk about it, like when you were growing up and stuff. And then when I did the school project, I had a lot more knowledge into like what had gone on papers, what papers had said. I mean, I don't agree with a lot of things, some of the things what papers had said about a 14-year-old child what were murdered, victim blaming. That's some of the things I didn't agree with what they said at the time. Like when I've read it back, you know, I mean, like blaming a young girl and stuff who's died, well, been murdered, shall I say? Sorry. There was certain things I thought you couldn't say now. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't basically get away with saying stuff like that now about a young girl's personal life and stuff. But yeah, so what had happened? Like my mother was 17 at the time when Lisa was murdered, and my mother and her older sister both had moved on to Rugby Road. So my mum had moved into 32 Rugby Road with my dad, and my sister was 2 months old when Lisa was murdered. So my late sister, who's passed away now, was born in October '84, and my mum had got the house in the December time, just before the murder had happened. And my auntie, who's my mum's older sister, lived at 23 Rugby Road, ironically next to where my late sister would live for many years, because my late sister lived at 21, with my cousin. And like obviously we heard over the years my auntie remembers it happening and how bad it was, like it happening, and watching like basically police investigate the murder of a young girl like on the estate and stuff. So like when it happened, like my family like watched all that unfold, like, you know, like the police investigating and coming on the estate and questioning people. They did a reconstruction um, that same like month when Lisa was murdered. They also had like an incident room set up on Newlands Road for a long time, like for a few months, from what my mum remembers. But yeah, it was. I knew quite like it was always one of them things though. Like when they reopened it in 2004, it was on Crime Watch, and a lot of people who I grew up with at school and stuff wasn't shocked when I started raising awareness about it, because like whenever it was brought up about Lisa's case, I'd always like get on my soapbox about it, how wrong it were, no one's ever been caught, and how she was a kid who'd been murdered, and my mum was obviously still alive at this stage, and never had justice and stuff. So a lot of people wasn't shocked when I started raising awareness about it. And how I come to raise awareness about it was in May 2016, my friend had got an house on the top of the Rugby Road estate, and we just so happened one day, it was like a really warm day, we were driving to B&Q, and we were driving down Bodywell Road, and I remember there was a kids' party on Bodywell Road next to Lisa's mum's house, and I said, innocently, I bet that woman who lives there is not happy with all them screaming kids. And she went, oh, I said, Christine, Lisa Hession's mum. She went, she's died. So I said, she can't have it. Would have been in paper. And my friend had informed me Christine had died a couple of months before, which I didn't know about, because I don't live on that estate anymore, and like I'd not been I didn't know like it was true, because I'd not seen anything in paper. So my friend had confirmed it, because my friend's mother was friends with Christine and attended the funeral. So basically what I did were, I decided like the day after I was going to email all papers and let them know, because I thought, do you know, like Lisa Hession's mum's died, but like, well, does that mean person who's done it's never going to get caught if they don't like basically like announce like a mum's died? Will someone not come forward? Like, and basically said they know something. I don't know, but so what I did, I emailed all like local papers and national papers and told them like Christine Hession had died and stuff, and then I got speaking to Neil Keeling, who I didn't actually know that had been one of the journalists in 1984, 1985 that raised awareness about it. So Neil emailed me back and said, thanks for this. We're going to do some stories on unsolved murders. Lisa's going to be one of them. So that was in like the summertime of 2016. And then in November 2017, I remember thinking, like, nobody's like been caught for it still, even after a passing of a mum's been announced. I'm gonna basically put like some posts online. So what I did, we used to have a site called Lee Life Forums, and I not anonymously, well, my username at the time, Lee Life Forums is not open anymore, was called Believe in Yourself. That was my username, and I anonymously put them online, and a local bloke, Peter Hampson, shared these posts, like basically saying like Lisa's mum's passed away, like it's still unsolved, like so they started resurfacing on Facebook. And reason I was secretive because at the time I worked in a medium security unit and they were very strict on social media on what you shared. Like if you shared anything about like like these things, what they do, like with people and stuff, we weren't allowed to share anything like that. So I was very, very cautious of what I was sharing. But I thought, I'm going to get this message out. Like Lisa Hession's murderer has still never been caught, and her mum's died without ever getting justice. So that was in 2016, when November 2016, and then a year after, I put the post on again on Lee Life Forums, and Andrea reshared it, and then I inboxed Andrea and said, listen, I've like, I knew Andrea really well, like I'd known her like for about 10 years at that stage, and she happened to be a childhood friend of Lisa's from like when Lisa originally lived on Fold, which is another council estate in Lee, prior to moving to a like Rugby Road estate. The Hessians originally lived on Fold. So Andrea went high school and primary school with primary school and high school with Lisa, and Andrea's older sister were friendly with Lisa as well. So I got talking to Andrea and said, like, I've put these posts on and stuff, like, and I'm not many people know it's me what started this campaign because of my job. And then Andrea just said, shall we just get a group going? So we got a group going. We started working with each other in November 2017, then we got a group going not long after, me and Andrea, and then we've worked with each other ever since. It's just and like with popularity, groups grown, a lot of people join it. We've had people from all over the world join it. It's mad. We've got people in Australia and stuff who's part of groups and stuff. It's like, yeah, we do get a lot of Leeds people are grateful for what we do, because a lot of people in this town want answers. But in regards to Lisa, when that happened, my auntie actually lived. I just wanted to address this because I have done a previous podcast, and the story I've actually been told is not true. It come off a family member of mine who's my cousin, and she told me this that her version of events, which I found out wasn't true. But my auntie actually told me the real version of events, what happened. But my auntie had. My cousin had claimed she'd played it back like the day after, and police had talked about it, which since I've been told that isn't true, that version. So I wanted to address the actual story. But what had happened was my auntie lived at 23 Rugby Road, and she'd moved in August '84. She'd moved in, and she'd looked the morning after Lisa was murdered. My auntie got up in morning on Sunday and looked out at like a front bedroom window, front living room window, and she'd actually saw loads of cars down Rugby Road, and her actual words were, why are there all these cars down this street? I think it's a saying called rubbernecking. It's not something I sell out, but some people call it rubbernecking. She got on the phone to like a neighbour, and she said, what's going on down the street? And my auntie had actually been told there'd been a murder down back. So my auntie had actually gone out of the back gate to like see what were going on, and a policewoman met her at the back gate and said, you need to go in. And my auntie said, well, like, I've heard there's a murder. Like, what's going on. And she said, I can't tell you anything other than something very serious happened here last night. And my auntie was then escorted in, that like told to go back into her house, like, and that she did. But my cousin's version was she were playing it back, and this policewoman took her back. But I've been found out off my auntie that's completely not true. With my auntie, what went down the backs the morning after for asked what had gone on. But yeah, that's I think that's first question covered. Like with that one.
Yeah, no, I think you're well. First of all, thank you. It's nice sort of speaking to somebody who
Yeah.
well, how can I put this? Sometimes when you speak to people, it's not very easy to draw words out of them. So it's nice to have somebody that's able to talk quite freely.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like there's been a good positive response to the group. Do you get any sort of leads or anything through there? Do people send you information quite often?
We always pass it on. I mean, I think what helps is my mum lived on Rugby Road in the 80s and so did my auntie. So like both my parents did and my older sister did later on when I was born, and I did for a few years. So I know quite a lot of people who live on that estate. I know like a few of Lisa's school friends who know my parents, like, because like none of my family actually knew Lisa Hession or her family, even though they lived like my mum's family and Lisa's family lived like virtually not far from each other. They didn't actually know Lisa personally, but we do get a good response. Like a lot of people, like I've had like random people come over to me, like strangers, and say, like, "Are you Ryan Daly? Like you raise awareness a lot about Lisa Hession." I'm like, thank you and stuff. And it's nice though because like it's something that we all want in Lee. We just want someone to be caught for it. And I think what helps as well is like, because I'm originally from Rugby Road. I mean, I've not lived there since 1993 or something like that, but I do have like friends what have lived there and stuff, and family members what have lived there in the past. And yeah, we do get a positive response. Like I will not, regardless of who it is, if someone puts a name in and says it could be someone I know personally, it could be someone I get on with who I think's a sound person. But if someone gives a name in, I'll always pass it through to cold case no matter what, because at the end of the day, someone has not been accountable for what they've done to a 14-year-old kid at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? It's like they need to face what they've done, and anyone what's shielded them, because it's just not right at all. It's just injustice.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've read some of your comments online in the Facebook group, and you don't seem to think that the other attacks in 1984 and 1985 were connected to the murder. What sort of brought you to that conclusion? How did you arrive at that?
Well, I am in touch with a few of Lisa's school friends. One of them being Andrea, who like I work along, and two of them still live on that estate. They lived there then when Lisa was murdered, and they still live there now. And all three of them women who I speak to, and other women I've spoken to, are don't think like when they remember it happening and they was at school with Lisa or lived at the same estate as Lisa, they think that was a massive red herring. The ether, and I agree. I agree, to be fair, because like when I have in past had women who was attacked prior to Lisa being murdered, who have actually said like there was attack, but some have give different descriptions to what that ether looks like. I found, and like completely different, like from what police have said, and I just don't think Lisa's killer is that attacker. I really don't. I personally think Lisa's killer was somebody she knew, somebody she would have trusted for walk down them backs with, and I think it could be a neighbour what lived there, or somebody who had links to that estate on where she lived on Rugby Road, Estate, sorry, or links to it, like Lee Bridge or St Helens Roadway or Mazzalane Bridge, somewhere in that vicinity. I think I just think the person who's done it did not live far away, because for somebody for basically murder a young girl down a back alley and walk the streets or whatever, for go home, they must have lived close by or must have been seen. I personally think that person has gone and told you either that night or within a few years after or whatever. I think they've told somebody, like, I don't know, maybe a family member or the wife or whatever, or a close friend or a parent. I think they've told someone what they've done. And I don't think they've been able to shield it. I think they've been shielded from the very early days. I just don't think that he fits Lisa's killer. And a few people, especially people that live on that estate, have said it. I think it's too obvious. I just think the police have put two and two together and assumed it. But like Andrea described a couple of years ago, Andrea said, how could somebody assume that that's Lisa's killer when Lisa were murdered? She couldn't give any details of what the person who murdered her looked like. And I thought that was a very good point what Andrea made. But I do agree. I don't think the fit man who attacked the women before and after is Lisa's killer.
I mean, obviously, you can, of course, tell me if I'm wrong about any of this, but sort of from the outside looking in,
yeah,
and this might be oversimplifying it a little bit, but I get the impression it's certainly quite a tight-knit community around the sort of Rugby Road area, and I think if you've got an e-fit of somebody in sort of an area like that, it would be very difficult for them not to be identified. And I think when you sort of couple that with the fact that I mean it's kind of unanimously agreed on that everybody sort of seems to think Lisa probably knew her attacker, knew her murderer.
I think she knew him.
I think if you put those two things together, it's very difficult to think that person in that e-fit would be the killer, because they probably, if they knew her, they would have had to have been local, and then it doesn't seem to fit.
This is thing. I mean, Lee's a small town. You can walk past somebody in the street in Lee, and you can think, I know them. Like, there's been people I've walked past for years in the street, and I've not had a clue there, but they look familiar, but I could later meet them and know the name and stuff. Now, if that man who's on the e-fit was a local man with a Lee accent, surely by now one of them women would have noticed who he is and said, such a body Joe Bloggs who drinks in what pub attacked me in 1984, 1985. And I just think, I mean, I have spoken to one or two women who was attacked prior have come forward, and like they have said, they've described him, and like one woman I was talking to, the description she gave of what the e-fit of the photograph, what the Lee Journal or police said at the time, was completely different to like say what, like it was like his hair colour were different and his height and stuff, and I just think, I don't think for 1 minute that attacker is Lisa Hession's killer. I just think it just so happened that one of the attacks was nearby a few months before, and like 2 or 3 were like nearby to where it happened. I really do think Lisa walked in and back to someone she trusted, and I do think it was someone who lived on that estate. I really do. Or who had family on that estate. Or I think there's something about that estate what links back to her killer, and I do think that. Or if not, that estate very, very nearby, because it's one of them estates. It's very, very open. It's surrounded by one side like a lot of fields, what can lead you to a lot of different places in Lee, like different areas in Lee via a footpath. I do think, it's not hard to leave that estate on foot within 5 minutes and get to another part of Lee, use fields and use your smarts type of thing. I do think there's somewhere linked to. I just think it's someone she knew, she trusted, and she went, who should possibly walk in and back with, because you wouldn't think if it was a neighbour or someone, you'd be in danger, would you really?
No, that makes sense, and I mean, it's not a it's not a stretch to think that it would be much easier to kind of get within close range of
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
And if somebody's being, say for example, chased down the street at night, it's something that's going to draw quite a lot of attention, isn't it?
yeah. I think they knew a movement of where she was going that night. I think they knew she was going to a friend's house. I don't want to call it a party because I had been told it wasn't actually a party, it was just a small gathering. So I now refer to Lisa as coming home from a friend's house because that's what I was told, like it was just a small gathering of mates. Um, but she was walking home, and you mean she was a pretty young girl and stuff, and you mean I think it's been someone who's fancied her and tried the luck, and unfortunately she's been murdered. And I do think they probably knew her movements or where she walked or what time she needed to be home. I do think it links back to that estate where she lives.
So, do you think this case gets solved?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I do think it will get solved. I'm quite a spiritual person, me, and I do have a gut feeling it will get solved. I really do. And I think with police having partial DNA, I do think it will one day will know. I really do. I think one day we'll know who it is. It's only a matter of time before something happens. I mean, I have read with partial DNA they can't do like a familiar run with DNA. Like, like if like the killer's like child or relative, blood relative is in DNA system, they can't. I have been told like they can't like do it with a familiar with a partial match. But if like Sir Joe Bloggs, who lives at such a street, gets named, if they went the police and swabbed him, if he was the person, then they'd have enough that get a direct match for find a killer. But I was sure with, I mean, like there was a Crime Watch appeal a couple of weeks ago, and it was good for see like it was like 40 years, and they were doing something about it. The police like every year we always do like posters like I do, and like I'll like when it comes to anniversary I'll share it, like surface it on social media, like that said, do you know, it's 40 years for example, or it's been 39 years, here's the numbers if you know anything, and it's just so people don't forget. But I'm hoping this year I won't have to do that. I'd love it for it to be sold this year. That would be amazing, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, well, I think you yourself and Andrea are doing fantastic work in
Thank you.
keeping the
Thanks
case
for that.
in the public eye, and it's pretty clear, but just from being on the Facebook group for a short time, it's obviously very clear that the community's sort of behind you both, and
Yeah,
I hope it
yeah.
pays off for you.
What do you say, sorry?
I said I hope it pays off for you, all your hard
Yeah,
work.
because it's just like, even though I didn't know Lisa, I weren't born, like, my family, my mum and my older sister just happened to live, and my dad and my auntie just happened to live right corner from her. But none of my family knew her. I didn't know her. I spoke to her mum once or twice, and her mum was a really nice, polite woman. Despite what happened to her daughter, if you ever walked past Christine Hession on that estate, she'd always let on to you. She was never rude or anything. She was always polite with everyone walked past her in the street. And it was just one of them things with Lisa's case, because it'd been going on that long, and you see it get to 20 years on Crime Watch. And obviously I've done the like school project on it, and I just thought to myself, do you know what? We need more like publicity on this, like locally, and I think social media, like Facebook's been a good thing for promote it on, and I've done it since 2016. I've done it for like 8 years now, like 9 years in like May or something. I started. Yeah, it's just been one of them things. Like, I'm glad like I've like had a group raising awareness about it and stuff, and I just hope it helps get the person. I really do, and anyone what's shielded them.
Yeah, I hope so as well, mate. I
I
really
hope
do.
so too.
I do have one last question for you.
Go on, yeah.
You're not a Leopards fan, are you?
I know that. Oh,
You're not a Leopards fan, are you?
I don't follow sport, mate. No, I don't follow sport at all. Honestly, I've never really been into sport at all. Only thing I'll do is walk, go for a walk, which I'm doing today because Yeah, that's probably the sportiest I get. Like, he's going through a good stroll. Yeah.
That's all right. So long as I'm not talking to a Lee Leopards fan, that's all
No, I don't follow
right.
it. Don't follow it. Don't follow football, rugby, or anything like that. But yeah,
No,
yeah.
well, like I said, I really appreciate you
Oh no, you're
giving us
welcome.
your time, mate. That's very kind of you to give up your free time to talk to me.
All right.
What I'll do is I'll edit this down. As I say, I'm sort of probably aiming to get this to around 10 minutes, something like that, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll send you another draft before it goes live. I'm probably
Yeah.
going to post it this
I
week.
don't mind if you don't put full interview on. You can do for me. You can
Brilliant.
do for me. If you don't put full interview on with me, I really don't mind.
Great. All right. Well, I really appreciate it, Ryan. You go and enjoy
You're
your
most
walk, mate.
welcome.
All right.
Thank you. See you later, Ben.
Cool.
Take care.
Speak
Bye.
soon, Ryan. Cheers, mate.